Brought to you by PrayLatin.com, makers of prayer cards featuring complete English phonetic renderings of Latin pronunciations. Do you remember the saga of Father Marco Rupnik? You probably do, since it was one of the more, we'll say, dark stories of 2023 for the Church. For those not aware, Father Marco Rupnik is the Jesuit priest who is behind a lot of really strange art that has a certain, for lack of a better way to describe it, a Giger-esque nature to it, just in a subtle way. You've seen this stuff adorning various Vatican programs, including some synodal artwork, as well as in various shrines and chapels around the world, most notably in the Shrine of Padre Pio and in the Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima in Portugal. Rupnik was outed as a creature cut from the same cloth as Ted McCarrick, except that his tastes ran towards nuns, whom he would force to engage in activities I can't bring myself to talk about, and not only because to describe his activities in detail would violate rules on this platform, but also because they're just so diabolically foul that I can't bring myself to give voice to them. Save to say that they involve sins of the flesh with coerced nuns using altars and implements for the holy sacrifice of the Mass in the most profane, diabolical way imaginable. Father Rupnik automatically excommunicated himself for misuse of the sacrament of penance by absolving the sins of the nuns in question in the confessional himself for the things he made them do, which even begs a question if they were actually sins on the parts of the nuns themselves. Francis later lifted the excommunication in an act of distorted mercy and placed the priest back in active ministry in a diocese in Slovenia earlier this year. That despite the fact that Rupnik was too much even for the Jesuits who expelled him from their order. Yes, he was too much for the modern Jesuits, which are out in public openly defying and denying the Church's teachings about matters of the flesh on a pretty regular basis. He was too much for them. Father Rupnik is back in the news for this story, which comes to us from the Catholic Conclave news blog. Headline: Loyola community founded by Rupnik dissolved on order of Vatican. Yes, the community of nuns that Rupnik founded and was using in diabolical ways to satisfy his own twisted needs has been dissolved. Now, it's worth reminding everyone that the Vatican didn't dissolve the Legionaries of Christ for what could be argued was far worse behavior by their devotee of Satan founder, Maciel Maciel, but with Rupnik, the Vatican acted actually pretty quickly and dissolved the Order of Nuns, which were the victims in all of this. It's an odd story, and some are asking if this was an act of justice on the part of the Vatican, meaning if they handled this correctly, or if they're just trying to sweep things away. I will let you make that decision for yourself. Let me know in the comments what you think of this story as we carefully dive into the details of it. So from the Catholic Conclave article, quote, Father Rupnik is said to have done, we'll say bad things, to the ladies in the Loyola community, which he founded. The former superior is said to have covered it. Now the Vatican is taking action. The community is being dissolved. The Loyola community founded by the alleged Perp Marco Rupnik is dissolved. The Archdiocese in Slovenia announced on Friday that the responsible Vatican dicastery had already ordered in October of this year to dissolve the community of sisters within a year. Quote, on October 20th, 2023, the dicastery issued a decree dissolving the Loyola community due to serious problems in the exercise of authority and the common way of life, the Archdiocese said in a statement. On Thursday, the decree was handed over to the sisters of the community. According to the Slovenian Archdiocese, Archbishop Stanislav Zore visited the community in 2019 and informed the order's dicastery of the results of the beginning of 2020. Since the community has its generalate in Rome, the dicastery referred the matter to the Diocese of Rome, where it was also investigated. The final report of this visitation was presented to the order's dicastery in September 2022. End quote. Now, this will look at first glance like the Vatican's responses to the new problems from when the world was made aware of the evil deeds Rupnik had done, which came out, I think, in 2022. But this problem goes back decades to the time of John Paul II, though I doubt he personally knew about what was going on, even though Father Rupnik's work did start appearing in the Vatican and in other places in the 80s or 90s, if not earlier. Father Rupnik had been a force in the part of Europe in the church for a long, long time. His influence, due to his connections to the arts community and his resources from his personal success, cannot be discounted in all this. The man lived large and enjoyed the fruits of his labors and influence. Like I said at the start, his art can be seen almost everywhere. I actually have somewhere a bookmark from the Synod on the Family in 2014 or 2015 that has his disturbing artwork on it. He had enough serious success and access to the halls of influence, and like so many others before him, when his evil secret life was exposed, Francis showed him what his superiors or supporters would probably call mercy by not only lifting the automatic excommunication, but also putting Rupnik back into active ministry in his home country. He only lifted the statute of limitations for the deeds he's accused of when the public outcry against this act of mercy was too much to deal with, forcing him to open an investigation into Father Rupnik that I'm frankly not confident is going to lead to anything serious happening to the Jesuit. After all, he is a Jesuit, and as has been amply demonstrated in numerous other cases, Francis likes to protect people who have serious moral failings on the matters of the flesh. To give you an idea of how far this rot extended, though, well, let's get back to the article, which suggests that Father Rupnik had the Mother Superior of the Order of Nuns in his back pocket. Because of the things that she is known to have done, there can be no other reason for it. Take a moment to think about that, all that you need, though. Quote, "This year, at the end of September, became known from the previous superior of the Loyola community and Rupnik confidant Ivanka Hosta was given a church disciplinary decree by the Roman auxiliary bishop Daniele Libinori because of her leadership style. Libinori was also responsible for the visitation in the Diocese of Rome. Allegations have been made against Rupnik from within the community, relating to alleged acts between the mid-1980s and 2018. Hosta is said to have known about the allegations in the 1980s and 1990s, but did nothing. The decree attested that Hosta had a leadership style, quote, detrimental to the dignity and rights of all religious who make up the community. In particular, there are complaints about a mixture of forum internum and forum externum, i.e. pastoral care and leadership activities. In October, the Vatican announced that Pope Francis had commissioned the Dicastery of Faith to investigate the allegations against the ex-Jesuit Rupnik. After his release from the Jesuit order, Rupnik was accepted into the Diocese of Koper, which belongs to the ecclesiastical province where the nuns are located. In order to make the ecclesiastical proceedings against Rupnik possible, the Pope lifted the statute of limitations. An otherwise unrelated pontifical commission had previously massively criticized the treatment of Rupnik, while the visitation report of the Mosaic Workshop in Rome, founded by Rupnik, expressed doubts about the allegations. Nothing is known about the current status of the proceedings. End quote. So the Pillar reported on this story later than Catholic Conclave did, and they provide additional details about this. Hosta, the former Mother Superior of the Order, has had the following imposed upon her. So from the Pillar reports on this, quote, the local website reported that the decree imposed 3 measures against Hosta, the community superior. The first was a ban on holding governing positions within the community, or offering spiritual direction. The second was an obligation to move to the community's house in Portugal and not to contact, either directly or indirectly, sisters or ex-sisters of the Loyola community for 3 years. The third was to visit a Marian shrine once a month for a year to pray, quote, for the victims of the behavior of Father Marco Ivan Rupnik and for all the nuns of the community of Loyola, end quote. She's lost her power and has to pray as an act of penance for her role in all of this. That sounds light to me, but maybe I'm thinking too materially about this, because my instinct says if there is any chance she was complicit in illegal behavior, and this certainly would be that, then she should be investigated for it and should face the consequences of the outcome of that investigation. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Again, I might be thinking just too secularly in this. But I'm curious what you think about this. Is the suppression of this religious house the correct move? Is the moving of nuns to other communities the right move? Or was this done to sweep these problems away? Because we've seen that happen a lot. Do you have any faith in the outcome of the investigation of Father Rupnik? Or do you think he's going to get nothing more than a slap on the wrist, which is basically what he's gotten so far? Let me know what you think about this in the comments, please. And hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So does sharing this on social media. That helps a lot too. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stein. Ave Maria.